are live. It is Saturday, which means it's last call. WagerTalk Last Call live every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern here on WagerTalk TV and, of course, archived 24/7 for your viewing pleasure. Extra excited Saturday here as we've hit 210,000 subscribers here on YouTube TV. Thank you to each and every one of you that made that possible. And if you're one of the few that hasn't hit subscribe, hey, do so right now. 300,000 is right around the corner. I am Steve Merril, filling in for Ariel Epstein. She is tied up with Kelly in Vegas in New York as we speak, but Ariel will be back next week. But we've got a great lineup nonetheless. Gianni the Greek to lead us off, Ronald Cabang, and Ross the Boss Benjamin to finish it off. And let's get right to the Steam Report with Ace. Gianni the Greek, he's here every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern on Wager Talk today, but we get him in a little bit earlier on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Greek, what you got going on today?
All right, early action. Here's what we're looking at. WNBA total. We got a WNBA total, 607. LA, New York, over 174.5. And then strictly baseball. Here's what we're looking at there. 957 Mets at even money. 956 St. Louis minus 135. 961 A's plus 170. 963 under 8 Cleveland KC. 966 LA Angels plus 130. 970 over 9 Tampa Bay Cincinnati. 971 Atlanta at even money. Multiple groups hit Atlanta, and that's opposite where I'm seeing public money. And same thing with where was it? 980 Boston minus 135. Boston minus 135. So plenty of sides and a couple totals as well. A lot of those got hit overnight. Some follow through this morning. But real quickly, wanted to share 5 series bets that we placed right before first pitch. In fact, I think I was only able to release 2 of these to subscribers because we have like a 10-minute window, and a few of these came in with like 6, 7, 8 minutes before first pitch. But here's what we took. We took the A's at plus 195 2 days ago. That series is all but won. They're up 2-0. So the worst we could do there is push. We have Miami in that series, plus 260. They won game 1. We have the White Sox plus 230 in that series. They won game 1. I know I sent that to subscribers. We have Minnesota minus 185. They also won game 1. And then we took the Yankees right before first pitch. They bet the Yankees at plus 105 and even money. And the Yankees last night in game 1. Usually when they bet a series bet, they don't unload game 1 as well. But yesterday they came in, like I said, on the Yankees and the Yankees game 1. And more importantly, it was opposite heavy public money. Philadelphia was one of the most one-sided bet games. Philly and over was the parlay of the night. So that game really rocked the books, really hurt them. If it wasn't for the sharp money opposite, that would have really stung. But like I said, the sharps helped eliminate some of that risk. But those are 5 series that we are looking to cash. 4 dogs, A's, Miami, White Sox, Yankees, and a favorite, Minnesota. Again, so far so good. They're all up at least 1-0, except for the Yankees.
Yeah, it's interesting, Greg, because some of those you mentioned, the A's, especially the White Sox, I think are 6-1 since the All-Star break. So some of these ugly ducklings are playing really good here out of the break. And we often see, a bye week in the NFL or a break in college football or baseball, you're not going to be a kind of a momentum killer or an opposite effect. So I think that's been very interesting to see. And I love how you mentioned we got a little bit of a sharp square divide in that Braves-Rangers game. And as you know, NFL right around the corner. I look for that all the time with my Fade the Public info. Whenever the public is on one side, the sharps are on the other, it's always something that catches your attention.
Yeah, I also, what I really like, what has done well for me historically, when the public, and you can't just fade the public and make money.
Right.
You're not getting 11-10 like the sports books. And long term, you bet someone off the street, they're going to go 50-50, more or less. But there are those times it can tell you a lot when you add in the market read on it, the line movement, and then the X's and O's line up. And the most success I've had is when I see the betting public is confirmed to be on a dog, heavily on a dog.
Correct.
Especially when it's a point spread sport and they're taking them on the money line. Like they don't even think they need the points. When I see that, and I see a lot of those money line parlays where there's that one dog and it's also the dog getting bet by the points and the sharps are opposite, those usually do the best. Because,
Totally.
historically, we tend to see sharps more on dogs and unders. But when you see them take a strong position on a favorite, and opposite is the public on the dog and betting the money line, those are usually gold. I like betting those, looking for a reason to back that favorite.
Yeah, let's talk more about that. I mean, the NFL is only about a month and a half away. They have actually ESPN today is running the training camps all day long. I had that earlier. Every 20 minutes, they're going to a different camp, so you can follow your favorite team. I totally agree with you. I've always said my NFL Fade the Public information, use it as a filter, right? It's one of the 30 different aspects you're using when you're handicapping, and those are the exact filters I like as well, Greek, is that public underdog, ding, ding, red flag alert. You hear me say it all the time. We're going to fade those public dogs. They don't happen often. And same thing when the public is heavy on an under for the same reasons you just mentioned. I don't look as much with totals with information for public stuff, but yeah, the public likes favorites in the over. So when they're on a dog or an under, it catches your attention. And what I like about that also is that you're getting a quality team when you're fading the public in that situation.
Yep.
And that's another filter we'll talk about is avoid the crap teams, right? I mean, that's what makes it 50-50 long run is if you just throw out those 20% NFL teams that just go 0 for 0 for 0 for weeks in a row, like the Panthers a couple years ago, the Texans a couple years ago, till they turned it around. I don't like to play bad teams, and I love to fade the public with good teams whenever possible.
Great point. And I want to talk on a comment real quick, and I love what Robert S. wrote. He said, and it's so true. The public has more info now than ever before at their fingertips. That's so true. The problem is that the books also do. They also have access to that information. But more importantly, Robert, here's what we know. This is factual, that prior to the influx of recreational bettors, prior to the legalization of sports betting in the United States, in pretty much every state, we knew that 99% of sports bettors had negative lifetime earnings. Like all sports betting accounts that have ever been opened, 99% of those had negative results. Okay. Now, with it legal, 10 years later, with it legal, with information at everyone's fingertips, with social media, with all that access, there's actually less winners. We now know that it's 0.5% are actually profitable. Dave Mason, actually, I had him on my podcast. And when I said, is it still about 1%? He said, no, we're down to about 0.5% of accounts are profitable. So we have more bettors than ever before, more information than ever before. And yet the losing has increased. It hasn't decreased. And a lot of that has to do with just searching out bad bets, like taking worse money lines than ever before, where they're laying to lay more juice. Me and you talk about that all the time. They're willing to lay minus 112s, minus 113s instead of even minus 110. That takes a toll. They're willing to do all those parlays and same game parlays and all that negative EV stuff that they keep promoting and showing those tickets for $5 winning 100,000. And I think that's one of the reasons why the results have gotten worse, not better, even though there's more information and bettors are more astute and savvier and sharper than ever before. It hasn't produced any type of positive results. And it just goes to show you, we are not very good at practicing what we preach. Most of us know what the sharp stuff is. Most of us know not to take bad numbers, not to overbet our edge, not to chase, not to bet for action. Most are sharp enough to know these things. Can you follow through? That's the difference. Do you have the discipline to follow through? And obviously from the results, it seems like most aren't following through. We hear it enough. We know what to do. We know what's sharp and what's square. But for some reason, we continue to place negative EV bets and the numbers don't lie. I wish it were different, but it just isn't.
That's fascinating with Bet Online because that's a sharp book. They don't discourage sharp action. So for them to have less than 1% winners is pretty remarkable. But I'll also go to what I was going to say is that the lines are also sharper and more accurate than they've ever been in our lifetime. And Bet Online has very sharp numbers because they take sharp action, right? So their number, and I'm sure Johnny Detroit's in the chat. He always talks about scalping, how he always loses at Pinnacle, beats all the other books, and gets limited. I would guess long-term, if you're scalping with the Bet Online numbers too, you're going to probably end up winning elsewhere more than there. But that's the problem. Just even 20 years ago, you and I could get a 3-point middle in every college basketball game or, during the day. It was free pickings. You didn't even have to handicap. You could just play the best number on the board every day and win. you've talked about this. If you pull up Odds Logic right now or the free WagerTalk live odds, at best you're going to see a couple cent difference. And then, as Johnny Detroit pointed out too, a lot of these books have 20, 30-cent lines now on baseball, which makes it even more difficult. So you're right. The information is now available. And, this leads into the preseason, which is right around the corner. When I started in 1996, it was about getting the information. Now it's about what you do with the information, because within one click of a mouse, the quarterback rotations and everything else that's going to happen in a game.
Yeah, and the market has become more efficient, and it's an efficient market, and that's what the definition is. An efficient market's one that continues to correct itself, and that's what we've seen. Me and you've talked about it with baseball. When I first came to Las Vegas, I never saw a total below 7. It didn't matter. I know I sound like a broken record, and I talk about Maddox versus Martinez, and it was still 7 under, juiced -130, -140, but they didn't go to 6.5. They didn't go to 6. They didn't go to 5.5. Now they do. Now you see that. That's a market correcting itself, making it harder to win. You never saw NFL totals above 50. In fact, when I first moved here, when I was a runner on the strip, I was told if I saw a casino posting above 50 on an NFL total, to take the under. It was almost never, because remember, like you touched on, they didn't copy each other's lines. You could get a 2-3 point middle very easily by just shopping, by just moving around. You can't do that anymore. You can't cross the street and get a 2-point difference. You could do that back in the past, and that would happen. And if you saw, one casino that was getting pelted with an over that they went to 51 or something, 51.5, 52, you could bet the under, because you almost never saw that. Now you see 56s, 57s in the NFL. Like, they've gotten a lot more efficient, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'll tell you, and here I'll leave it at this, but here's what's so crazy about all of this is the lines are more accurate, more efficient than they've ever been, but the prices are getting worse. It should be the other way around, right? I mean, Barbary Coast is giving 5-cent baseball lines 20, 25 years ago when the numbers were softer. And now I'm looking at the live odds screen right now. I mean, it's hard to find a 10-cent baseball line, and a lot of these are 20, 25-cent splits. That's what's so criminal about it.
Makes it so much harder to beat, and enough recreational bettors don't talk about it. Again, I don't want to go long. I know we got a great lineup of guys coming on to share a lot of information, but we see it, man. I walk through the blackjack. Everything's 6-5 blackjack now. Everything's continuous shuffle. Why? Because they're still playing. The tables are still packed. I walked through the casino last night. You couldn't sit at a blackjack table. Every single one was 6-5 blackjack. Every single table on the floor was continuous shuffle. But with every seat taken, if the market's willing to take the worst of it, they're going to keep giving us the worst of it.
Right. They're going to, if someone's willing to pay more for something, they're going to charge you more.
Why wouldn't you?
So exactly
Why wouldn't you? I don't blame the books. I blame us, the market, willing to bet into those books.
So the takeaway here for all you viewers out there, and I consider the WagerTalk viewers sharper than the average sports bettor, is don't give in. Find an account that gives you good odds. Find a bet online. Find somebody else that's giving you a fair 10-cent line. And don't let this mispricing continue. Hopefully, as you know, we'll get to a betting market at some point. And let me know when you're ready to get that, Johnny. I'm on board with you. Yes, I'll be the first investor. I think we're still a little ways away, though.
Yes, sir.
What do you got going on? Steam Room? What else you got going on?
Yeah, we knocked that out yesterday because today's early UFC. Okay. It goes off in about 45 minutes.
That's right. Early UFC card.
Eastern.
Yeah, tell us about it. Starts soon.
Yep. I got a UFC package up. I believe I got 5 or 6 plays in there already. I'm still handicapping the card, still getting good information coming in. A lot of the info, like I said, most of the biggest bettors, the betting syndicates that do MMA, a lot of their stuff comes in late because of the limits. So you should be getting more plays over the next 45 minutes. But I'll give something out real fast, Bill, here for you guys for free. First fight of the night, Buchecha and Budai. Sharp money came in on Budai yesterday at about plus 230 all the way down to about plus 210. They took the Budai side. Made sense. This is a debut for Buchecha. He's a BJJ ace, but he's never fought in the UFC. He's only got 5 MMA fights. All of those are wins in the first round, except the one loss that went to a decision. But he's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu ace. I mean, he's won every kind of title you can on the mat. With that said, Budai's got that UFC experience, so I could understand why the Sharps took Budai. I like Budai as well. Slight lean there at plus money, but I think the under at plus money also offers some value. Even up to minus 110, under 1.5. I think either Buchecha gets him out of there quickly by able to sub Budai, or Budai shocks him and gets him out of there quickly. But Buchecha's not built to really go past 7.5 minutes. I think this fight ends quickly. It's heavyweights as well, but Budai not being a finisher gives us a little bit added value. That's why we're getting it at even money. So I think there's worst case that happens is a split. You take Budai plus 200, 210 or better, 220, and go under 1.5. Hopefully we go 2-0. But there's some UFC start the night action for you guys.
Going with Budai and Abu Dubai, or
there you
wherever
go.
they are here.
In Abu Dhabi. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, 2-1 right now. Getting 2-1 on that and getting plus 120 on the under. So if either one of those hits, you're making money. And that is the first fight in exactly 1 hour, 12:15 Eastern, exactly 1 hour from now. So this is truly last call for MMA. And I'll let Johnny finish handicapping that card and check out his page right now at WagerTalk.com for more best bets. It's Gianni the Greek. And you can see him every Monday through Friday as well at noon Eastern here on Wager Talk today. Yet another reason when you click subscribe to hit that bell as well, so you get an instant alert when all these shows go live. And also the free play videos that are up every day. I'm knocking out 2 free play baseball videos right after the show here today around noon Eastern. So check those out. Make sure you click subscribe and click that bell for an instant alert. And if you're liking the free program and the free videos, all we ask is a thumbs up on the video and a positive comment below, because we do read the comments and we reply back. And if you're watching right now, hey, live comment, we might pop it up on the screen. Dan the Man Alexander at the controls. So if you say something nice about the Phillies, better chance it'll pop up on the screen. All right, let's bring in Ronald Cabang, the ladies' man, talk some WNBA. And Ronald, man, I don't follow the WNBA too close, but I went to an Aces game 3 years ago when we were all out there in Vegas for the Wager Talk get-together, and it was one of the better sporting events I'd ever been to. How far they have fallen, though, huh? What'd they lose by, like 40 or something last night? So, what's going on with the Aces? So just a loss of some players, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole chemistry issue, that's something. I think that the players, they just don't play well with each other. They brought in, Jewel Lloyd. They lost Plum. They lost, they lost a lot of depth, and their bench is not that great. I mean, they lost even the young players that they brought in during their time when they were pretty good, like Martin and all that stuff. They're all gone. So they have a bunch of older people, and I don't know. It just seems like they're not vibing the way they should be with the names on the court that they have. So it's tough to see them struggling, but I think the rest of the league also, it's not them getting that much worse. I think the rest of the league is getting a lot better. So it's credit to the whole league getting better.
Yeah, 31-point loss last night in Minnesota as a 10-point dog. Let's look at the 2 games tonight. First one goes at 7 Eastern. We've got Los Angeles at New York. A little bit of money coming in on the underdog here. It opened as high as 11.5. It's now down to 10.5, even some 9.5. It's literally dropping as we're doing the show live here on Saturday morning. Total's been bumped up a little bit from 174.5 to 175. Big total in this game, though. So big point spread with a lot of points expected.
Yeah. This one, I think I can see why they're going towards the Sparks here. They're on a 4-game winning streak. And this dates back to right before the All-Star break. This is also their 3rd straight game on the West Coast, though. So could be some travel fatigue there. Liberty, they're on a 5-game winning streak. This is actually their 8th straight home game. They haven't played on the road since June. So all of this month they've been at home so far. But this is also the second leg of a back-to-back games for them. So potential issues there. I believe some of their players hit 30 minutes yesterday. I think it's Stewie, Sabrina, Phoebish, all key players in their rotation that played heavy minutes. So we could see them with some type of minutes restriction in this one, because obviously if you look at the total, it seems like there's not going to be a lot of defense played in a faster pace. So this might be a situation where you get the bench going in with Marine Johannes, who can run and play a little bit of faster pace. So I can see why the total also went up. From a trend perspective, if you look at the Liberty, 9-4-1 ATS at home, 10-4 to the under. One of the best defensive teams in the league, also one of the most efficient offenses as well. So you can see why those trends make sense. The last time they played on the second leg of back-to-back games, though, they did win and cover 85-63 as 8.5-point road favorites. That total went under as well. But if you look at the Sparks side, it's total opposite. Just all offense, no defense, fast pace. On the Sparks side, when all their opponents are going over their team total, 16-7 so far this season. So you're profiting a big chunk if you just faded the Sparks defense so far this season. But this total here, 175.5 right now, 92.5 team total for the Liberty. Second game of back-to-back, it just seems a little bit high. The last matchup that they had one so far this season, 89-79, stayed under the total. I just think that this number is a little bit inflated based on the current situation for both teams, right? Sparks 3rd straight road game on the East Coast, second of a back-to-back for Liberty. So I would think it's I would probably say to the under for that for the total, and I would actually look towards. I agree with the market on the Spark side, with the plus. I think it opened up at like plus 11, but like you said, it has bet down. So I would lean towards Sparks and the under.
Yeah, LA's got 16 overs, as you mentioned, this year. No other team in the WNBA has more than 13 overs. And just crushing the over-under. But now the question is, is there value left when the total is inflated this high? The markets, obviously, after 24 games, are going to correct. We do have another game tonight, though, right after at 7:30 Eastern. Seattle at my Washington Mystics. Washington, 3.5-point dog. With this also seen some money coming on the dog. Opened as high as 5.5. Down to 3.5, 4 in most locations. A little bit of a dip to the under as well. 156.5 down to 154.5 in the nation's capital tonight.
Yeah, this one. I mean, I'm a Storm fan. I'm from Seattle, and I was actually I was at the last game these two met each other. I had the Storm team total under. That one cash. One thing to mention about the Storm, they always tend to play down to their opponent's levels. Obviously, Mystics they're playing a lot better this year than a lot of people expected, just because of how young they are. But yeah, it has a lot to do with their defense. For the most part, their offense has been inefficient, especially recently. If you look at the Storm's games, they've been really inefficient offensively, but they are coming off a really dominant 95-57 win against the Sky. I think their offense sees a little bit of a letdown here. And also, I mentioned how I cashed that Storm team total under. It was because of how ugly these two teams played. Like, they match up so well with their guards and their bigs defensively, that it just created like this ugly flow to the game. People couldn't get into a rhythm. Even the bench players couldn't either. So the matchup wise, it just seems like they really are built to stop each other's offensive rhythm. If you look at the Mystics defense, they've actually been a little bit better recently. The Storm are also playing at the slowest pace in the league. Mystics not too far off at 8th over the last 10 games. Mystics, I think one thing that the Mystics do have an advantage of is getting to the free throw line. The Storm are also 12th in second highest free throw rate allowed. So they're sending opponents to the free throw line. And both teams are top 4 in forcing turnovers as well. So what I mentioned about like ugly games between each other, they're just creating turnovers, contesting shots. I think both offenses struggle in this situation here. Slow-paced game. I agree with the under, the total going down to the under. I also think that, like I mentioned earlier, Seattle's going to get a bit of a letdown offensively after scoring 95. They failed to score 70 in 3 straight games prior to that. So I actually think that the Mystics is the right side as well.
And Ronald knows his WNBA. I know Ronald, going into last night, you're on an incredible run, but still on a 29-6 run, I believe, on 4% or higher WNBA plays, which is just remarkable, and number 1 this year as well. Tell people about it.
Yeah, yesterday did not go great, 1-3, but we built a lot of cushion so far this season. 77 units of profit after yesterday's 1-3 day in the regular season. So a lot of things going really well. All time, I think all time I'm number 1 in WNBA, going for my 3rd straight number 1 season. And I've been following and watching it before it got really popular. So I think that's one advantage I have, and I'm also able to adjust as the game changes. So I think that I don't see me slowing down in the WNBA. I've really been focusing in on that over like baseball and all that stuff. But one thing that I've learned this year is, the lower, like 1 to 2% plays haven't been that great for me. So I actually told clients that I'm not doing any, I'm not giving any plays less than 3%. So I won't have a WNBA play today, but I will have MLB. So if you guys are interested in that, you could check out my capper page, wt.buzz/RC.
Yeah, I mean, WNBA record's incredible. Number 1 last year, number 1 this year, even with a 1-3 night, still 8-4 his last 12. So it's a great way to build that bankroll for the football season. Ronald's also got a 5% college football play up. He's number 1 all time on 5% best bets at WagerTalk. And I want to mention this on the way out, Ronald, because we're bringing in Ross Benjamin next. And we've got a duo special with you and Ross, and we'll talk more about it with Ross as well. But buy Ronald, get Ross free, or buy Ross, get Ronald free. Doesn't matter how you want to slice it. It's a 2-for-1 special. You can get them both for the next year for the price of one. It's a fantastic offer.
Yeah, real quick, someone asked about the box in the Mariners. It's a Griffey, just a Griffey bobblehead. And
Not
then
bad.
I also have a KD rookie bobblehead as well in Seattle uniform. So representing Seattle.
Supersonic back in the day.
Yes, sir.
People forget that. Ronald, college football right around the corner. You got that big playoff. You got the special too for the full year with Ross.
Yeah, I saw that 5%. So I have a 5% play in college football. It's a I have low volume in college football, but my 5% play is, I don't know if you mentioned it, but I'm on a 49-11 run. In 5% plays, number one all-time profit, win percentage, and ROI on 5% plays. So when I throw those out there, they hit at a high rate, and this college football play actually checks all the boxes for what I usually look for. So that one's up and available. It's almost a month away, but I wanted to get ahead of the line just because I feel like it's going to be shifting a bit.
It's all available on his page right now. Check him out, Ronald Cabang at WagerTalk.com. And as I mentioned, you buy Ronald, you get Ross. You buy Ross, you get Ronald. And speaking of Ross, Benjamin, let's bring him on right now. I've been told he's going to behave. No, Ross, I'm going to make this very clear. We're running a tight show here today on Saturday, so I need you on your A game.
All right, man. No problem.
I got the laugh out of the way.
I never want to let you down, brother.
You never let me down. It's impossible. Even when you try, you can't do it. Hey, you're having a nice run, too. We talk about those free play videos. You probably cooled off a little bit because what were you, like 34-11 or something at one point?
But well, I don't know, cooling off compared to what?
That's what I'm saying. It was impossible not to cool off.
You look at my record right now. I'm on a where are we here? 46-12 in 63-19 run. So something in that area there, Steve, don't quote me on that, but it's right in that neighborhood. So yes, it's cooled off a bit lately. Had another winner last night, but yeah, WT.buzz/Ross TV. If you want to confirm what I'm claiming I am on these free picks, go at it.
You got a buzz code for the videos. I need to do that. You're ahead of me, man. You're passing me on the YouTube stuff here.
It's exhausting chasing you. It's exhausting.
All I know is Ross pops a baseball video, and within like 5 minutes, it's got 1,000 views. So that's telling you something, folks, that he is on a monster free. And this is all free. We're talking about free play. Yeah. Free. We're talking about practice. We're talking about free, not best bets. Free.
Yeah.
And if you do want Ross's best bets, which are even better, stronger plays, you can get them once again for free when you buy Ronald, or get Ronald for free when you buy Ross. It's a 2-for-1 special. No promo code needed. Couldn't be any simpler. It's on both of their pages right now. A 2-for-1 special for the next 365 days, Ronald and Ross Benjamin. All right, now we're going to tease this one a little bit, Ross. We're getting to a huge plus 10,000 long shot to win the college football championship. So stay tuned here in a couple minutes. But first, let's talk some baseball. Is it your New York Mets? Were you a Yankee or Met guy growing up?
No, I'm a Yankees guy.
All right. So it's your New York Mets against the New York Giants. Are you old enough to remember the Giants?
I am old enough to remember the Giants. No. Well, no, I take that back.
I didn't think you were. That was a complete joke. I was actually dumbfounded that you said yes, to be honest. It kind of spoiled the whole joke there.
I'm not. I know you guys like to tease me, but I'm not that old.
I didn't think you were. Giants Mets. I talked about the National League West earlier this week on Tuesday, and I said how the Padres, if you look at run differential, were maybe a bit overrated. Well, they've since lost 4 straight games, so I guess that came back down to earth fast. But I also mentioned that the Giants were the one team that were good against winning opponents in that division, where the Padres, Dodgers all had losing records. So this could be a good matchup tonight. What's your take on this game, Giants Mets?
Well, you got to look at this from a bookmaker's standpoint. They made San Francisco as a -120 opener, and the Mets are 6 games ahead of San Francisco in the standings. The Mets have won 5 in a row. The Giants have lost 7 of 9, yet the Giants open as a favorite, and now they're down to 115. So to me, a red flag goes up there right away. And then looking inside the numbers, David Peterson, talk about Jekyll and Hyde. As a starter in his home and away splits, 11-0 in his home team starts. That's not decisions. That's games that he started at home. The Mets have been 11-0, but the last 8 starts on the road for Peterson, the Mets have gone 0-8. And his numbers are indicative of such. It's not like they're horrible numbers on the road, Steve, but the disparity between his ERA and WHIP on the road compared to at home is it's eye-catching. Robbie Ray, on the other hand, 8-3 in his home team starts this year with an excellent 2.53 ERA and 1.14 WHIP. 8 of his 11 home starts this year were of the quality variety, meaning 6 innings or more pitched, 3 earned runs or less allowed. The San Francisco bullpen at home this year been very good. 3.21 ERA, 1.15 WHIP. I like San Fran here. I just think I'm going to think like a bookmaker here. And I think some of that conversation that you and Gianni were having applies here. You know what I mean? If it looks too good to be true in sports betting, more times than not it is. I'm going to take San Francisco here, minus 115 against the Mets.
And Ross, I want to ask you, obviously having a great baseball season, if you had to say like your 2 or 3 favorite things, like when you're making your short list every day, what are you looking at in baseball? What are your 2 or 3 favorite things to look at when analyzing games?
I always begin with starting pitching, Steve. I think most of us do.
Right.
I look at recent form more so than how a guy's overall numbers are. So, I mean, you could have a guy whose overall numbers are, his ERA is less than 3, but over his last 3 starts, it's 6.20 and his WHIP is like 160. So I look at recent form. Bullpens you have to take into consideration. And again, because it's a long season, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs with bullpen performances. So I like to get that down to maybe the last month and even the last 7 games or so and see how the bullpens are performing, because in this day and age, Steve, it's a day and age of specialization when it comes to pitching in Major League Baseball. So that's the other thing I look at. And then, I look at various other topics, but those are the first 2 I look at. Of course, I don't like to ask bad teams to do good things for me. I think you touched upon that as well. So even if I get a favorable starting pitching matchup and a team has lost, well, Detroit's a perfect example with Skubal today. I'm going to stay completely away from that game with probably the best starting pitcher in baseball right now because of Detroit's struggles. I think they're 1-11 in their last 12. So those are some of the things I look at, Steve.
Yeah, and it's always goes back to offensive momentum for me, good or bad, when teams are struggling. When the Guardians lost, 10 straight a few weeks ago, they scored like 1 or 2 runs almost in every game during that span. Tigers, they've lost 11 out of 12, as you mentioned. They've been outscored 83-32. So, yeah, they're giving up, like 7 runs a game or whatever. But what jumps out to me is the 32, because you can control that. That's the same lineup every day. 32 runs over 12 games is not good. That's less than 3 runs a game. So it also amazes me how the offenses go through ebbs and flows also during the season. So I think you're spot on about current form. And, avoid bad teams in every sport. That's such a great filter in general. Going to get to that college football long shot in a moment, but if you all have any specific games you want to ask Ross about, please drop them in the live chat and we will get to them. Before we leave baseball, Ross, second half of the season really was here a few weeks ago, but the post-All-Star break second half of the season this year now. And I mentioned earlier how I always feel like the bye week in the NFL or baseball, it's a momentum killer or it can help teams that were struggling. Obviously, the Tigers are on a slide, and they had a great first half. White Sox, 6-1, the 7th after the break. A's, 15 runs last night. A rookie hits 4 home runs for the first time in the history of baseball in the 20th 4-run homer game ever. That's one of the rarest feats in baseball. Over 150 years, we've only had it 20 times. Pretty cool. What is your take on the second half here? Your New York Yankees, overrated, underrated, neutral, buy, sell, neutral, a hold at this point, maybe? Blue Jays, 16-4, I think.
Look, here's the thing. It's a tricky question right now, Steve, because we're approaching the trade deadline, right?
Good point.
So, some of these major market teams that are still in contention, like the Yankees, I'd like to wait and see what transpires at the trade deadline. If getting McMahon in a trade as their stopgap at third base, or they think that they got a steal there, the guy's hitting 217. I know his prior years he's been very good, but if that's an indication, I'm selling on the Yankees. I just even with him in the lineup, there's just too many soft spots in that batting order as you go from 6 through 9 in that lineup. So, and I'm not convinced on their starting pitching beyond Max Fried. Who do you trust? You know what I mean? I guess Carlos Rodon, sure. But beyond that, the depth of their starting pitching, and this bullpen is a mess. This isn't the Yankees bullpen we've seen in the last 5 or 6 years. They're far from dominant. So in that aspect, if you were talking specifically about my Yankees, they're a sell to me.
Yeah, and you've touched on something I was going to say. Regular season and postseason are so different, right? Winning regular season games is about having 4 or 5 decent starters, having a deep offense. You get to the postseason, you're going to have 1 or 2 superstar pitchers and dominate. And I don't feel like the Dodgers or the Yankees necessarily have the best starting staffs in either league. And if you look at them, Ross, they're combined down over 14 units this year against the money line.
Well, I mean, the Dodgers have an excuse, right, Steve? They got guys that have been out and waiting to come back.
That's the big X factor.
Back,
if they come back healthy, if they're ready to roll.
Right.
I think that's maybe what they're doing with Ohtani, in my opinion, is that they're just trying to get him enough work here for 1 or 2 innings a game. If he's in full throttle for the postseason, that's pretty dangerous. But it's also so risky to have him out there throwing, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, you're never going to lose his bat, but
you will if he hurts his arm. Maybe that's my point. That's why I said it's so risky
I got
having
you
him out there.
I agree. And the Dodgers bullpen has just been terrible.
Yeah.
They got a lot of guys out. I get that, but like you just alluded to, that big if question: if they come back healthy, and how healthy are they, and how will they perform after such a long layoff? I think you're going to see the Dodgers make some major moves with their bullpen at the trade deadline. So again, a wait and see approach there with the Dodgers as well, Steve.
Yeah, and the trade deadline right around the corner, as Ross said, it really is a great point. We'll know a lot more when we hit August as far as what teams have what in their abilities. And my Washington Nationals, will see if they do another 6-for-1 trade, maybe like they did with Soto. What a steal that was. I love that. You and I could be general managers for an NFL team or a baseball team, and I swear I could turn them around in 5 years if they just let me do what I wanted to do. The NFL, I would trade my first-round picks every year and load up. You and I saw the Cowboys do it 30-some years ago. It's been proven to work. The problem is every general manager is on the hot seat, and they have to catch lightning in a bottle. They keep trying to grab these quarterbacks or these first-round pitchers. Hey, speaking of football, we teased it earlier. 10,000 plus 10,000. So what's that? 100 to 1, I guess. Is it 100 to 1 is what it would be at plus 10,000?
100 will win you 10,000. So yes.
So 100 to 1 odds.
Yeah.
But still, this is a long shot in college football. And look, obviously 100 to 1 is probably not going to win it. But if you get in the playoff system, especially that expanded playoff we have now, you got hedge opportunities, a lot of other things you can do. So what's a team you've got kind of on your radar?
Arizona State plus 10,000. Steve, it sounds like an absurd bet, but hear me out on my reasoning here. And I think that you'll see where I'm going with this. I mean, look, the Big 12 is a wide open conference, right? And Arizona State right now is a co-favorite at DraftKings at plus 550. And they have 17 returning starters from last year's 11-3 team that won the Big 12. They lost to Texas in the college football quarterfinal in a double overtime game. They did lose their star running back, Cam Scatteraboo, but they do return an excellent sophomore quarterback in Sam Levitt, who was second team Big 12 last year, and a first team preseason All-American wide receiver in Jordan Tyson. So they have plenty to bring back, even with the loss of Scatteraboo. Then you look at their strength of schedule, it's only number 39. I say only because as a Power 5 conference team, that's a pretty low strength of schedule. And this year's opponents that they're going to face, they were number 60 in win percentage last season. I just need them to get to the Big 12 title game, Steve. And you know what? I mean, you look at, it's odd. They're plus 550 to win the Big 12, but they're only plus 380 to make it to the college football playoffs. And at the same sports book, DraftKings. So I need them to get to the college or the Big 12 championship game, and it's a hedging opportunity from there going forward. At those types of odds, there's no reason why you can't make a substantial profit on Arizona State, even if, I'll go even one step further, if the game before and their regular season finale, if they need that to win to get into college or the Big 12 championship game, you may want to start hedging right at that point.
Correct.
And you're in a prime position. The only way we throw money out the window here is if they're, they have a terrible season. And that goes with any team in the country, but at odds of plus 10,000, I know that seems absurd, but we're really not betting plus 10,000. We're betting on them to get to the Big 12 championship game, and we assure ourselves of a substantial profit. And why couldn't they? I mean, plus 550 to win the Big 12, plus 380 to get in the college football playoff. I think there's a lot of value at that number, and it's not such an absurd bet as we ordinarily would think when you're seeing a plus 10,000.
No, just on the surface, you've got a team. You said 17 returning starters, right?
Yeah. Yes.
They got a bye last week. Last year, they were in the top 4 with a bye, had to play one last game and lost in double overtime in that game. They were that close to being in the semifinals last year. They got a lot of guys back in a very watered-down conference. I think it makes a lot of sense. And the fact that it's 3.5 to 1 to make the playoffs versus 100 to 1 to win the whole thing, yeah, you're much better off hedging. And like you said, you could hedge before the Big 12 title game, even if you think only one team's going to get there. I don't know much. Have you done work with college football with other teams? You still digging in?
I'm still digging in, Steve. You know, I've been going so well on Major League Baseball right now. It's been my focus. But college football last year, I was number 1 in units earned, number 1 in win percentage. And up until July 31st at midnight, folks, early bird special, $4.99 for my college football season, right through the national championship game. So you got a few days to take advantage of that. It's going to go up to $5.99 as of next Wednesday. So jump in there. And, I'm on an all sports premium picks run right now of 80 and 49, Steve. 62% since May 13th, and a net profit of over 75 units during that course of time. So I wake up every morning thinking I'm in heaven, and then I feel my pulse and I'm not, so I got to stay grounded.
Clients are in heaven, though, to say the least. Amazing runs. And if you haven't been capitalizing on the free play runs, it's insane because you could have paid for multiple college football seasons by now and getting Ross's best bets. But MLB alone, 13 and 4, 30 and 13, 65 and 41. And the free picks, once again, on WagerTalk TV on 46 and 13, 63 and 20 runs. Got the official numbers for you, Ross. I didn't trust you to remember those incredible numbers, so I got the official numbers for you.
Yes, thank you very much, Steve. And here's the thing, folks. Some of you say, well, why should I pay? Because you're so hot with free picks. You got a good point. But at the same time, it shows you what I'm capable of on the premium pick side. And, we have to be real, right, Steve? I mean, to say that I'm going to go 63 and 20 every 83 picks is I would be the biggest liar in the world. I mean, enjoy it while it lasts. But don't have a false sense of security with the free picks because, like with all of us, the premium picks are our best picks of the day.
Correct. And some of those free picks are probably making your best bet card, right? Occasionally. I mean, some of those games might end up on there.
I try not to make that a practice. So it's even more impressive. And again, I have to toot my own horn here, right? I don't want people to take it out of context. But, it's even more impressive that I'm 62% on premium picks since May 13th. And I also have this free pick run going as well. It just shows you how good things have been going, especially in baseball, Steve.
So basically you're getting more winners by having both. So that's yet another reason to get the best bet service because those are stronger plays that long-term are going to win at a higher percentage. This is a small sample. Ross has been doing this for decades as of high. Once again, we rate our games. Ronald talked about his stronger plays doing better. Free plays are great. We get the best bets. And once again, Ross's early bird college football special is good until the end of this month. A few more days remaining. Or if you want his 1-year all access, you get him for free with Ronald or Ronald for free with Ross. It's a 2-for-1 special. The original odd couple, Ross Benjamin and Ronald Cabang. No promo code needed.
I'm going to start calling him Ronald Kaboom. I mean, he's killing the sports books,
But here's the thing, too, though. He just talked about his WNBA the last years, number 1 at WagerTalk. How many free picks have you given out in WNBA recently, Ross? Or how many best bets?
0.
Exactly.
I couldn't even tell you other than Caitlin Clark who's playing in that league. And
Same
that's
here.
No disrespect to those women. It's just that, sometimes we're spread a little too thin and taking on too much. And God bless him, man. He's killing it in the WNBA.
But it's another reason that's a great value. You're getting a WNBA capper and a guy that's doing baseball, football, and basketball. So it's a fantastic offer. Check it out, wagertalk.com. Ross, I'll let you run. Go make another free play video for this week.
Steve, always a pleasure, my man.
You too. Hey, you behaved well. I'm proud of you. We're going to let you go.
I don't know if I'll behave,
but
you know what?
Ross Benjamin, ladies and gentlemen. Ross the Boss, wagertalk.com. Thank you for joining us, everybody. This was Last Call. For those of you that were disappointed that Ariel was not here, she'll be back next week. I'm sure Kelly in Vegas is taking great care of her right now. Definitely saw some comments. I think it was from David earlier asking if I had any picks. I actually am going to do 2 free baseball videos right after this, a double video for you on 2 of your national TV games for Saturday night. So stay tuned. That's coming up here within about a half hour. And when you click subscribe and click that bell, you always get an instant alert when the free play videos are posted here on WagerTalk TV. Thumbs up, like, and positive comments, and we'll keep the free plays and the free shows coming. Over 210,000 subscribers hit this week on WagerTalk TV. Thank you once again to each and every one of you. And stay tuned because there's more free play videos coming up next.